now that we've got the button installed, the next step for me is to make sure we can get this thing to go in. Alright guys, in the name of science. So, to get the bigger button in, which is what I want, there's really only 2 screws that are holding everything in place. There is one right here, and then there's another hole right there. So I'm gonna chop these rumbles off because I'm not gonna use them anyway, but I can't mess with these longer new adaptive triggers now. So I've started to grind it down just a little bit so I can fit my button, but I'm gonna keep working on it and we'll see what we come up with. Alright guys, so I got the case set up and I've cut a lot of stuff out. I'm gonna show you in a second, but I finally got the button where I want it and it feels great. The controller's going to be a little lighter because I removed the rumble packs, but that's because I'm not using them in my FPS controller anyway, and I've got like 3 of these controllers now, so don't cry for me. But to get the kind of button that I wanted in there, that's what I had to do. So I think that's the only functionality that I removed. I want to look on the inside. Everything looks still pretty good. That button's a little sketchy, but we're gonna get that fitted in there. And this is what the interior looks like without the rumble packs, just so you can see that. So I cut it semi-neat, but I made sure that I retained these screws, and then of course those points. That way everything would still function as normal, because that's important. It's going to be right in this area where the points are that we're going to add what we need to be successful for our jumping mod, what we're going to be using for FPS games. Alright guys, so I've been in here working, and as you can see, and I don't know how well you can see, I'm going to try to get you some screenshots, but I can't promise you. I've basically put a common ground here, which is right here but on the opposite side, and then right up here is where your X and all your other, and I will definitely find a way to show this on screen, but this is where your points are. And since we're only doing a jump button, I only have X marked, and that point is really tiny and really hard to get to, but it can be done with a little bit of practice. And I've just got a little bit of glue laid on top of that to hold these fine wires together. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wire in the button, and then I'll show you where we are after that. Alright guys, so check it out. I've got everything back together, and I've just wired up the actual button to the controller, as you can see right there. So the only thing left to do is we're going to put a battery in, and we're going to close this guy up. I've also added a little bit of glue in here just to make sure everything sticks the way that I want it to. And yeah, so it looks good so far. So we're going to go ahead and drop this battery in and make sure that we get a good fit, and then we'll go do some testing. Now there is applications out there for testing. I don't have any that can work right now, but I know that they do exist because I used to use it on PlayStation 4, but for whatever reason my app was not working for PlayStation 5, my testing app. So we got the battery back in. The next thing I got to do is get this thing twisted up and hopefully not break anything putting it back together. Let's go ahead and twist these wires together so we make a little bit tighter, little braid. Alright, we got it back together. So before I actually put it all the way back together, as you can see, I've got my offset sticks in there. I don't know how well you can see that. They do detach. I'm going to drop some screws in here, and I'm going to take this guy for a play. We're just going to put the L buttons back in just so I can test everything out, and hopefully we have a working back X button. We're going to find out real quick. I had to tear it back apart from the last time you saw me put it together. Basically, I tried it and nothing happened, so I was bummed out. So again, up here is where the main point is, and then down there is where the secondary point is, where you're going to put your ground. And you can see it because I haven't glued it yet. But basically everything is firing now. I will show it to you once this thing is back together, but I had to test it to make sure it's working, and everything is working. So I'm going to glue this last point, and then I'm going to go to bed, and I'll put this thing back together tomorrow. There you go, guys. I did get a blister on my finger. Holy smokes, messing around with that glue gun. I don't know how y'all can see it. It's right there. Yikes. Please like this video because I got hurt making it. What I'm interested in is how much these are going to yellow over time, because the base is very clear, but the actual buttons themselves are a little off. But I like the way that they look with the rest of the controller, so I think that looks pretty freaking amazing. Super clean. You can see it in there, and the white and the red goes together with the black, so it's a nice accented fit. So overall, I think this is a go. Everything should still work on the controller. I'm gonna go actually utilize it, but real happy with how this turned out. So one other thing that I do want to show you guys is the actual rumbles that I took out. So I just chopped them right off. I don't use them for FPS, and there's the connections for them. And they made them a lot bigger. I guess they're smarter this time around. And I ain't gonna say a lot bigger, but they are bigger, but I guess they're a little smarter than they were before. But I chopped them out because I don't think I'm gonna use them in this controller. And I've got another controller that I've only changed the buttons out that I'm not gonna mess with, so that if I want to play other games, I can use that controller. I'm gonna show you the controller now in action. This is it. This is the one that I chopped the rumbles out of. It's also got the offset with the new buttons that I put in, the clear ones. I've got my backup here, and there is a huge weight difference between these two. Those rumble packs are very heavy compared to what they used to be in the last gen, and they're a lot larger. I think I'm going to show you that, or I showed you that in the video, but this is the one that I play with most of the time. It does work, and that's what I want to show you right now. I've only added the jump button, which I have wired over to my X. I do run tactical flipped on this controller. I did not do a knifing or melee button because I just don't use that enough to go in and mess with that point, because these points are super tiny. What I want to do now is I want to go ahead and turn it on. So you'll see me going to hit the button. You'll see the controller come on. The controller's lighting up. The PlayStation's lighting up. And we're going to go ahead and show you some gameplay once we get the game booted up. Alright guys, so we got the game up, and instead of hitting X to launch the game here, I'm going to hit the back button, which we have here. So if you were paying attention right here, I'm going to hit X on the back and it's going to load the game. Boom, it worked. I didn't touch the front at all. I'm also, once the game loads, I'm going to go ahead and hit this back button again. You'll see it come up on the screen there. I'm not touching the front at all. It says press X, so I'm going to hit here, and boom, we've got the game loading up. And I just want to show you some of the movements in a match real quick on the screen. I know this is kind of sketchy, and I'm not using actual screen recording, and I apologize for my aquarium noise in the back too, because you probably can hear the water, but I got it running a little bit low. So I'm just gonna hop into multiplayer real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the X on the back that I wired in. Boom. I'm gonna hit it again, and I'm just gonna go into a quick hardcore match. I've not hit the X on the front one time. I will hit X right now just to show you on the front that it works. I'm gonna back out. I'm gonna hit it on the back, show you that it works. So just to kind of show you guys that this does in fact work. It's searching for a match right now, and I do really like this controller. I prefer it over the other controller, partially because I prefer the circumference of these buttons over these. I will link both of these in the description. I do like these, but they take a lot on my heavier controller. They take a lot more to get used to, and I just really like having a back jumping button, especially on an FPS game. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit my normal X now to jump into the game. We're already in game, and as you can see, I'm moving around. I'm jumping with the back button. I'm gonna run around. That sucks. We went right into halftime. I'm gonna use this back button to hop through this window. Whoop. Slide. Well, I didn't slide, now I slid. So it just makes my gameplay a little bit more versatile, and I'm very comfortable with how this feels. I've died like a ton. I'm gonna keep playing till I finish out this match, see if I can get even, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.